You guys have no idea how much I love this motion picture. Okay, today we're going back to look at 1974's The Land That Time Forgot, which wound up being kind of connected to a bunch of other movies that were kind of similar to it and same director and stuff. We'll get to that later. Anyway, before we go any further, before we dive into this gem anymore, once and again, and as always, to the trailer.
It must have been a little after 3 o'clock in the afternoon that it began. The afternoon of June 3rd, 1916.
Fire 1, fire 2.
This could have been the end. The end of just another tragic episode in war at sea. But for the few survivors of a torpedoed merchant ship and the crew of a German U-boat lost in the frozen South Atlantic, it was the beginning of an incredible adventure. For this was the day the 20th century met the primeval world face to face. American International presents The Land That Time Forgot, an astounding motion picture based on the book by Edgar Rice Burroughs, creator of Tarzan and the most thrilling science fiction stories ever written. Travel through an underwater passage and discover an awesome prehistoric world. Fight for your life against the terrifying creatures of a lost continent. Come face to face with primitive man and learn the secret of evolution. The Land That Time Forgot.
Mr. Tyler!
Starring Doug McClure.
There's a secret to this island. Something that we haven't been able to fathom yet. And whether we stay or get away may depend on it.
It's action, danger, and adventure on an epic scale.
How much longer do we give them?
We're not leaving without them! Forget Skipper!
You will never forget Edgar Rice Burroughs' The Land That Time Forgot.
Okay, this motion picture was directed by Kevin Connor. Directed some motion pictures that you know, or at least some motion pictures you should know. Anyway, let's do it. We're talking about he did Motel Hell. He did The House Where Evil Dwells. He did From Beyond the Grave. And he did a sequel to this gem called The People That Time Forgot. And he also did Warlords of the Deep, a.k.a. Warlords of the Atlantis. And he did At the Earth's Core and a whole bunch of television work. So, there's some titles in there related to this title here, and man, later. Okay, everybody, playing Bowen Tyler, the one, the only, the man I talked about not too long ago when I reviewed Humanoids from the Deep. Oh, Doug McClure. Let's hit it. We're talking about he's been in stuff like, as I just mentioned, Humanoids from the Deep, and At the Earth's Core, and Warlords of Atlantis, and Shenandoah, and Gidget, and South Pacific, and on TV he was in The Virginian, and Barbary Coast, and On the Fall Guy, and Checkmate. Doug McClure was a staple in all kinds of shit up until the early 80s and whatnot. Man, Doug McClure, playing Lisa, Susan Penhaligon, who I just talked about not that long ago in another review, which you're going to hear the name of in a second. Let's do this. We're talking about he was in Patrick, which I was just talking about, and Nasty Habits, and Miracles Still Happen, and Under Milkwood, and on TV, and Doctor Who, and The Visitors, and The Bouquet of Barbed Wire, and A Fine Romance, and A Kind of Lovin', and Trouble in Mind, and Emerald Farm. So, good career, was around. A lot of stuff is the way it was. Let's keep moving. Okay, playing Captain von Schwartz, John McEnery. Let's do this. We're talking about he was in gems like Romeo and Juliet, and Othello, and The Duelists, and Hamlet, and Black Beauty, and Galileo, and Bartleby, and Girl with a Pearl Earring, and Nicholas and Alexandra. And he was on TV shows too, you know, Sins, and The Buddha of Suburbia, and the Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. So, cool career, long career, was around for a long time. God bless his little heart. Let's keep going. Playing Bradley, Keith Barron. Let's knock this out the park. We're talking about he was in Stop Like Love Story, and Doctor Who, and the Further Adventures of Lucky Jim, and My Good Woman, and No Strings, and Prince Regent, and Duty Free. I mean, he was just on tons and tons of TV work. Everything I just mentioned was TV work, so there's tons and tons of TV work. It's where his forte laid, folks, just the way it is. Playing Dietz, Anthony Ainley. Let's kick it. We're talking about he was in stuff like Naked Evil, and Inspector Clouseau, and Oh, What a Lovely War, in The Devil's Garden, and on TV, you know, Spider's Web, Upstairs, Downstairs, Nicholas Nickleby, Doctor Who, Warship. Hey man, good career, can't knock it. Let's get to the story. Okay, everybody, we're going to try to do this in 90 seconds or less, so we can keep it fast, keep it interesting, keep it entertaining, and so we can get to where we all rather be. The summation. Let's go. You got Doug McClure. He's on a transport ship. Well, it's actually a cargo ship. And they run into those merry mischief makers of the high seas, the German U-boat command. Well, before you know it, they blast that ship right out from under them. It's just the way it goes, folks. Shit happened like that back then. Anyway, the German U-boat comes up to surface. Before they know it, they're being attacked by the lifeboats full of survivors. They go down, they take over this ship, they head on out of there. Well, there's a couple times when the power of who's controlling the ship goes back and forth. That's regardless. Either way, they will end up going through the North Atlantic on a course that's been, let's just say, altered by one of the German officers, and they're headed south. We're talking South Pole south, folks. Just the way it goes. They're out of fuel. They don't know where to go. They're in a world full of shit. They find this giant, I don't know, island peninsula of ice. Call it what the hell you want. But it turns out to be the tip of a volcano. And when they go through this tunnel, what do they find out? Down on the inside of this volcano, oh my God, it's lush. It's a jungle. It's amazing. And it's filled with giant dinosaurs. It's filled with natives at various degrees of human evolution. Kind of odd. The movie will clear that up. And can they get themselves out of there? Back to civilization. Can they get themselves out of there without being eaten by big dinosaurs or killed by the natives? Can they get out of there without killing each other, even though they have a little truce going on? It is what it is. Plain and simple. Boatload of people. Find an island full of dinosaurs. Right before Jurassic Park. Is what it was. Let's go to the summation. Okay, everybody. What makes this motion picture work? Simply put, the vibe. Is the directing solid? Yes. Is the acting solid? Yes. Is the writing solid? Sure. But that doesn't matter. That's not the point. This motion picture heralds from a fun time in motion pictures where you sat down, you were entertained by a ridiculous goddamn story that made no sense whatsoever, and you just had yourself 90 minutes of the time of your life. Part of the charm of a flick like this is looking back and seeing what they did with what would be considered sketchy budgets at the time. There's so many times in this you look at it and you say, I know that's not real. I know that's not real. I know that's not real. But that's the beauty of it. When you're seeing the warships go at it, you're saying, I know this isn't a goddamn tub behind some goddamn movie theater. I can tell. I know that's a painting in the backdrop of a sky. I can see it. And you can almost smell the glue that they just got done putting these models together with. But that's what makes it so charming and so much goddamn fun. It was that kind of like ramshacked, we're going to make a movie on close to nothing and have the time of our lives. Plot be damned, logic be damned, be damn all of it, and it's going to be fun, entertaining, and exciting by the time we wrap this shit up. And on that note, in that realm, this motion picture shines. The cast never lets you down with some kind of a vibe that we're in some kind of a piece of shit that's beneath us. Never. Never do they do that. They deliver all the way through, and it is great. Yeah, there's an interesting story to it, too. You know what I mean? You got the Germans against each other. You got the Americans there. You got the British guy. They're all moshed in together. How the hell are they going to get along? Some will never be able to put their differences aside. Some will unite. Some will be okay. And there's twists and plot turns and stuff along the lines with that. So they just didn't go balls out stupid and make it, you know, some kind of a dumb flick with no human story to it and just let's focus on the big rubber dinosaurs. They gave you a story. They gave you some human drama. They gave you some fine acting to go through. They gave you some science in there that was kind of interesting, explained in a way that makes no fucking sense on planet Earth, but that doesn't matter. The vibe is what they were going for. Fun, adventurous, cool. And now that it's been a long time, nostalgic. They did a lot with just a bunch of rubber dinosaurs, rubber suits, and some models. And it doesn't matter if you can see that they're fake at times. It's the joy of it. It's the point of it. And Kevin Conner and Doug McClure were popping in all kinds of this shit out during this period of time. I mean, you got this, The Land That Time Forgot. And they had a sequel, The People That Time Forgot, which had, I think, Sarah Douglas in it and John Wayne's kid. Another great flick. You had At the Earth's Core floating around at that time. Oh, my God. That was awesome, too. You had Grand Moff Tarkin in that fucking thing. And then you had Warlords of Atlantis, which is the way we all knew it. Love that flick, too. It was just little niche. You know how, like, when you have some makers, they make a bunch of movies at a certain period of time, they use a lot of the same actors, you get the same directors going, you have the Kevin Smith world or something, and that's what this was, to goofy, fantasy, dinosaurs, people living on the bottom of the ocean type flicks, and this one delivered just like all the others did. Everybody, trust me, if you get a shot at any time, go out there and check out The Land Before Time. It's exciting, it's fun, it's interesting, it won't let you down. Yes, it's a little corny in some ways. We get that, especially by today's standards. But it doesn't make a difference. And while you're out there, and I'll probably review them all at some other point, go check out At the Earth's Core. Go check out Warlords of Atlantis. Go check out The People That Time Forgot, which was the sequel to this. They're all great little flicks. I rarely hear them talked about in the light that they should be and remembered the way that they deserve to be. Anyway, folks, be good. Take care. Stay healthy. Look out for a neighbor. Help a friend. Be kind to a stranger. And above all else, under no circumstances, at any time, from anybody, take any bullshit from anyone. See you soon, guys.